The West Australian state election's coming up. The party that's currently in government caused a recession and they could still win? What do the Liberals have to do to get unelected in WA? They'd have to put a lockout law on hungry jacks.
You blocked us from our Mecca! Whopper of a mistake, mate!
The reason they even have a shot is because the chairman Mao of Sharks, Colin Barnett, did a deal with One Nation and that boosted their approval rating by 4 points, and I get it. Our generation doesn't know this because we're all a bunch of Nicholas II's.
What's with all the early 20th century references?
We don't know what it's like to be in a recession, thanks to St. Keating.
Not even did you.
And you never will because you'll forever live in here. But I've been to WA recently. Let me tell you this about a recession. It's a lot like a stranger accidentally brushing their hand past your ass on a crowded train. You can feel it. Highest unemployment rate in the country. They see all these migrants and backpackers doing jobs they used to have. So when Pauline Hanson comes along and says,
DERE! They broke his jaw!
given the circumstances, I'm surprised it was only 13% of Western Australians that responded with
immigrants. I knew it was them. Even when it was the Bears, I knew it was them.
But they're not the reason you don't have a job. The real reason is the West Australian Liberals are not so much a party as they are a brothel. They will do anything for their political donors. They allowed, think about this, your entire state's wealth. Billions of tonnes of iron ore to be shipped out of Western Australia week after week, year after year, and not a cent of it was taxed. Even the Nationals, those yowies in suits, eventually asked the expired tub of yogurt you ascended to Premier Colin Barnett.
Surely we should tax the iron ore by $5 at least, Colin. I actually am talking to a tub of yogurt.
We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars that should be sitting in your treasury instead of foreign multinational mining companies' bank accounts, and yet the WA Liberals are asking for...
One more time.
It's called negotiating. They sold you out. There's no do-overs. That was the opportunity of a millennium that was 100% squandered for a few $100,000 in campaign donations. Colin Barnett did not help 46% of your state. He impoverished them more than they will ever know. And from that alone, he deserves to get, I still love you, Colin, 1 vote, let alone the fact that he permanently cut taxes to the point that if the mining boom ever stopped, which I'm not an economist, but I have read The Ant and the Grasshopper, and as such I know that it's not always going to be summer, and now that it's not, your state can't afford basic services like hospital upkeep. That's why you have the worst hospitals in the country, because Premier Locust honestly thought that the mining boom would never end. It's a boom. By definition, it ends. And now that it has, his grand strategy for fixing the hemorrhaging economy is to continue spending tens of billions of dollars on mining investments like the North Shale gas project that will never turn a profit because, like the guy from Psycho that keeps dressing up as his dead mother, Colin Barnett can't accept that she's fucking dead. That's why you don't have a job. Not because of migrants, because Colin Barnett monumentally fucked up. Don't you think it's a little odd that only a couple of years ago Western Australia was the Vanga boys of Australian states? Everywhere you looked, construction boom, the largest mining boom in history, and you went straight from that to a recession. That's not normal. Perth should be this entire city of golden statues because you all got the Midas touch and realised, what's the point of living when everything you touch turns to gold? I'm gonna be brutally honest. There's no magic wand to fix that level of economic incompetence. Oh yes, there is. By voting 1, Mark McGowan, West Australian Labor.
Pens are the real ones.
Unlike the Liberals in One Nation, Labor, as usual, actually has a plan to get you out of the recession by investing in other industries like education, science, tourism. That's estimated to create over 50,000 jobs and is so watertight it's even received praise from their natural enemies, the Chamber of Commerce. That's a plan. One Nation just saying Muslims are shit is not. You'd think they'd at least agree with Labor on ending those extremely exploitative fast-track visas the WA Liberals set up, just so businesses could import foreign workers for jobs plenty of Australians are qualified for. Plasterers, tilers, brickies. It's purely because foreign workers think the penalty rates is how many cat and nine-tails lashings they're owed. They're exploitable. And yet, One Nation's actively trying to get the party that replaced you with cheap foreign labour re-elected. Yes, you heard me. One Nation, the self-proclaimed party that stands up for the little man, that kicks the little man in the nuts more than Johnny Knoxville does. How are they standing up for the everyman when they voted against a royal commission into banks? Or when they kicked out their only senator that actually was standing up for the little man? Or when they backed the sale of 80,000 square kilometres of pastoral land used to farm the majority of Australia's beef, not to the Australian bidder, but to a Shanghai real estate company because it's partners with Gina Reinhardt? They weren't, because Here's the dirty little secret of this new wave of right-wing populism that's sweeping the planet. It's exactly the same as the old right wing. Pauline Hanson is just Margaret Thatcher if she were forced to work in a fish and chip shop for 20 years. Don't fall for it. Ask anyone you know that's even thinking of voting One Nation or Liberal, are you the CEO of Rio Tinto? And if the answer's no, hold them, say it's okay, the house burglary's over, but you need to vote one Mark McGowan for West Australian Labor because you're in a recession now. You literally can't afford not to. Also, come see my show.
All the right, Feneley George, because it's the best part of an election to hear this really quick voiceover of a black screen with white text.